Leo, welcome to your bonus in-depth reading that is yours and theirs. I hope you're well. I hope you're fabulous. Like always with yours and theirs, take what resonates, leave what does not, and reverse those energies as you see fit. More so with readings like yours and theirs, as energy exchange and interchange is real, rapid, and fluid. Having said that, your person that is seeing this board today, might be about or include the energies of a significant other, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, lover, ex of 5 years ago. I never know until the card's on the table. But it would also ask you to include or make space for those other perfectly common elements such as work, family stuff, spiritual stuff. Like I said, I'm just as like to see it. And as always, main point, take what resonates, leave it does not. Okay, let's get cracking. We're going to put down your baseline today. We're going to clarify throughout. Oracles, charms, the whole thing. And like always, we're going to start with your side of the board, right? But reverse energies as you see fit. What's going on? Show me Leo and their person. Show me Leo and their person. Okay. Knight of Cups, Ace of Cups, Queen of Wands. Kind of making a comeback there. Okay. Two of Wands, King of Cups, Magician, right on time. All right, let's see what's up. Ace of Swords, Six of Swords, Ten of Wands. Oh, okay, we have some insight there. Overview, the Hermit. Okay, yeah, I said you're making a comeback. You're working with something now. With Strong Truth, the Hermit. You got some good healing going on here. You're looking at your path pretty heavily right now, and it's a good place to be. The Hermit, of course, is my favorite card in tarot to indicate healing because it's based on real experience. So the willingness to look at our path, right? This is where I've come from, okay? This is where I'm at, and that's potentially where it could be going, all right? The point is that we're looking at it actively, calmly, with a space of reflection. And then we can choose, continue on as is, or perhaps we can start making some detours or deviations, left, right, something. Yeah, you got something on your mind. You're working through it. You got the goods. I know you do. You have a wealth of experience in there. You're making a comeback too, emotionally. Knight of Cups, Eight of Cups. I can see where you've been checked out for a bit. But there's some softness growing in you. The need to express yourself, maybe open up in a particular direction. But you were away for a while. Okay? How long? I don't know. But you were absent for a while. And like I said, you're making a comeback. Queen of Wands. There you go. Feeling good. Feeling charged up. Feeling a little more amped up, yeah? Taking care of yourself. Looking good. Feeling good. Or you're just kind of glowing. Turned on, maybe. All right? Feeling creative. I don't know. But literally, I'm looking at the definition of the juices are flowing here. Yeah, it's like you are waking up emotionally. It's coming back to you. It's coming back to you. So what did you learn? What's going on? It's here. It's a heavy truth. Don't get me wrong. It's a heavy truth. But it gave you something to work with. Over here, Two of Wands, King of Cups, the Magician. So I don't know what they're doing. They're just kind of manifested, you know. And King of Cups, it's a beautiful open heart space there. It's at the heart of the reading. So that's beautiful. All right. So this is someone who's very comfortable claiming what they feel. I feel what I feel. I am who I am. Okay. Two of Wands. Looking out upon the world. Yeah. Learning some things, deciding some things. Absolutely. I can see that they have a tendency to make decisions from the heart based on also PS manifestation principles. So what's right for them? Okay. What's right for them? Based on decisions, feeling, and universal feedback. So they have a pretty interesting system. Overall, I see them also manifesting just a good place from within the heart. Okay. It could be directed at you. Sure. A willingness and desire to communicate with you. Okay. I know this. They don't do anything they don't feel is correct. So, what's up? What's going on? All right. Ace of Swords, Six of Swords, Ten of Wands. You two share a strong truth. Six of Swords. Why there was a parting of ways and why it was so heavy. We can kind of see that clearly now. It's interesting. Okay. All right, what's up? What's going on? Let's get cracking. Let's see that Hermit. Show me the Hermit, please. The Hermit for the Hermit. You might have some very strong Virgo in your chart, FYI. You don't have to, but that's impressive. Okay. 2 of Wands. 3 of Wands. No rush. That's all right. You got a lot to think about, apparently. It's all good stuff, though. I'm glad. I'm glad. That 2 of Wands reflection. You're reflecting on their reflection. You learned a lot from this person recently. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying it's there. It gave you a lot of material to work with, but all good stuff. The Hermit's there twice. Really thinking hard on your path as it connects to them. The meaning of it all, what you have learned from it, like you're learning from your past double time. What? 2 of Wands, 3 of Wands. It's at a distance. The both of you clearly are at a distance right now. Clearly. That's emphasized twice. 3 of Wands, 2 of Wands, actively at a distance, and yet somehow you two are exchanging points of view. And you're learning a lot. They express something that tells me they've learned a lot. Oh my, it's quite curious. It looks like perhaps you two actively communicated maybe recently, but the distance, I don't know. There's so much distance there. And yet somehow, in some way, you two have exchanged enough that it's almost like you're rethinking your whole pathway there. And how it relates to them, how it relates to you, what you have learned. I'm curious to see how that happened. It's all good stuff. It's not threatening. Maybe not the easiest thing to look at, but nonetheless you're doing it. It's like you're seeing your connection to them in a completely different way. But in a productive way. A healthy way. Okay. Knight of Cups. Let's see that Knight of Cups, please, for Leo. Yeah, there's a lot of material in there to work with, and it looks like you got it directly from the source. Ten of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, Six of Pentacles. Man, you grew an empire over time. You're so well connected. Wow. You're busy too. Very busy, but it's something you're used to. You went out of your way to cultivate this. You started with very simple means, okay, very simple balances, and you grew that over time into a very flourishing Ten of Pentacles. It would be easier to ask you who you don't know. That kind of thing. And Knight of Cups, their heart is kind of softening. It seems lighter these days. When you're out there in your environment, in your 3D, in your foundation, and you're being an active participant, you're walking around a little lighter these days. Yeah, I can see that. Literally the progress. Do you see that? Six of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, Ten of Pentacles. You've done quite well for yourself, my friend. Very simple balances. Very simple connections and networks and priorities. You've balanced against them very well. Wheel of Fortune, time has passed. Boom, you're a Ten of Pentacles. Like I said, it'd be easier to ask you who you don't know. Yeah, you're deeply connected, my friend. You might even be prosperous, but even if it's not like in terms of wealth, you're saying what you have here in your community, what you're surrounded by, is everything to you. You are very, very active in there. And you're showing me a softened heart around all this. Like I said, you're walking around your environment, your foundation, your sense of stability, with the ease in your heart these days. You feel lighter. Let's see, with the Eight of Cups. Like I said, You're showing me an emotional comeback. Yeah, there's a softness in your heart when you're doing your everyday thing. Seven of Wands, deflection, Page of Swords, King of Pentacles. Yeah, there was a time, I think, when you got so enmeshed and so focused on your 3D, you got a little shut down. You kind of got into that phase of all work and no play. And there was other things going on within you. Seven of Wands, Page of Swords. There's some deflection in there. There's some defensiveness. It's almost like you went out of your way to be shut off. So it wasn't just work. Don't get me wrong. Working constantly like that, yeah, can absolutely numb you out. But there seemed to be an internal process within you where you just kind of shut down feelings too. Like you just didn't want to be bothered with it. You didn't want to be bothered with emotional connectivity, or that you weren't in a space where you feel you could make yourself available to be open, to be vulnerable. Not just for romantic situations. I mean, anything that requires emotional presence. You can have that with anything, anybody, anywhere. A sense of self. For a while, it's like you went out of your way to flip that switch off. I'm not trying to feel nothing. And some of you had been numb for a while. It wasn't just the environment. For some of you, that was an active choice. It was just easier to switch off. Okay? Like I said, you're making a comeback there. It's almost like you're saying, I didn't want to invest in my emotions. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you become defensive? It wasn't just being tired. At some point, you made a practical decision to kind of flip your switch to off. And ever so lightly, just maybe not all the way on. Maybe you have a dimmer switch. Maybe move that dimmer switch up a little more these days. Like I said, there's a certain lightness in you when you go about your regular everyday activities now. Much softer, much more agreeable, much more fluent. But for a while there, you were absent. It's like nothing could really touch you on the inside. I wonder why. Well, we'll get there. Queen of Wands. Temperance, beautiful. Four of Wands. King of Swords, there it is. Massive insight. Massive insight and focus. You got really sharp on this subject. There's that temperance, there's the healing again. And Four of Wands. You're feeling so much better about some sort of relationship now that you have more insights on it with the King of Swords. Like your eyes are wide open. Like you can see relationship. Okay? Something that represents time, patience, and healing over a particular subject. Four of Wands, once more, how two people define it. So I don't know how you defined it. I don't know that it was marriage. I don't know if it was boyfriend, girlfriend. I don't know if it was long-term companionship. I don't know. However it is you defined it, it's like, I can see it clearly now. I can see it 100% clearly. And that you made a huge comeback. From someone who was shut down on the subject to, I can see it clearly now. I have clarity. And I feel so much better about that relationship. I'm back. I'm back. That's all you're telling me is I'm back. I'm awake. And I see it when you walk around in your everyday world and reality. You look light. You look lighter. There's an ease in your step that you hadn't felt in a long time. Your mind got more focused. Like you had your espresso, right? And Queen of Wands, you're a little more lit. Yeah, that's more like you. There's so much peace on the subject. I like that soothing peace. But what I like, though, is that you showed me a master grip on the knowledge of it. It's like, okay, I get it. I get it. Heavy hermit energy here at the opening. Heavy reflection, which leads to acknowledgement, focus, and acknowledgement. It's like, I get it. I did my studying over here. I learned what I needed to learn. This makes so much sense to me now. Okay. Good. I'm happy to see that for you. I'm glad. There, and I get you. I get that, because I'm that intellectual puzzler too. It's when I can work something out and I have that intellectual confidence, right? Not fire confidence, not even emotional confidence. Okay, and I'm water dominant. When I can have intellectual confidence, I'm like, okay, finally things fell into place. I get it. I see it. I work through it. I'm balanced as hell. Got it. And that's what you're showing me, is that you feel so much more comfortable knowing what you know now. And that's, yeah, intellectual confidence. And that's, in turn, I think is affecting your outward energy, which is now the Queen of Wands, which is much more you. Okay. So again, the confidence based on what you know. So, good, strong reflection there. Not once, but twice. Man, that gave you a lot to think about. Okay. Speaking of which, let's jump over this. See what that Two of Wands is, because that was quite impactful. At least from your point of view, it was quite impactful. So I don't know how they shared that with you. You two do look like you're at a distance, but there must have been some sort of conversation that took place nonetheless. Two of Wands. Let's see that Two of Wands, please. I think one more. Let's see that Two of Wands. Okay. Devil, Queen of Cups, the Hierophant. Whoa. Who saw all that coming? Devil, Queen of Wands. I'm sorry. Devil, Queen of Cups, the Hierophant. Excuse me. Very strong feeling towards you. A sense of both being correct and incorrect simultaneously. Huge conflict over this person's heart space. Huge. This is a very water person. King, Queen of Cups is here. Could be, just straight up water sign. Sure. We also have some powerful earth here today. Capricorn, Taurus. But right now I'm seeing it as the little depictions on the shoulders. The angel and the devil. Okay. All right. Literally on that person's shoulders. From their point of view. How it crossed their heart in all the right ways and in all the wrong ways. Okay. Huge, not just emotional conflict, but spiritual conflict. And that was expressed. How does something feel so right also feel simultaneously so wrong? How can I have this kind of spiritual, emotional devotion to this and at the same time feel so bad about it? There is fear in this person's heart and in their spirit, and yet at the same time a kind of conviction of correctness. Goodness me, they're a strong feeler. Very strong. But they also have a weight of spirituality that crosses the heart as well, in terms of not just emotional importance, but spiritual importance. This is someone who doesn't take things lightly, no. And I get that. But they don't take their influences lightly at all. And yet, somehow, it's wrapped up in a discussion. Two of Wands. The conveyance of these things. The impression of positive, the impression of negative. The meaning and significance to them. Holy smokes, what a conversation. What a dialogue. Two of Wands. But it gave you a lot of material to work with. It gave you a lot of material to work with. It also kind of tells me that they have, to some extent, I shouldn't be surprised if I see justice on their downline. Because if it's like that, and that representation of what is spiritually very good and spiritually very wrong, that also has the implication of justice or balance. Okay, that sense of correctness on the scales. And they take that to kind of like a hypertensive place. Again, huge conflict. It feels so very right, and it feels so very wrong at the same time. Okay. King of Cups is at the core here. Page of Swords, Nine of Cups, judgment. Ultimately, this person's saying they listened to themselves about what was right for them. And Hermit's underlying again. And that was their particular process, something that they had to work through in their path. That ultimately they try to honor their feeling, but that also includes the stuff that feels wrong. And they make their decisions accordingly. It was kind of one of those things where it was default best practices and perhaps a shitty situation. So there's a huge admission that I feel very strongly to this. I'm spiritually devoted to this, at least from the heart. I am deeply imprinted upon this, or had the impression of being deeply imprinted upon this and what it meant to me, but also it felt very, very wrong simultaneously with the devil there. King of Cups, this person has a huge heart space, and they always try to default to what do I feel is right for me, but also best practices here with judgment. So with insight and reflection towards you, and then cross-referencing how they feel. I mean, this is someone who's deeply spiritual, deeply. And that's probably one of their biggest things they have to work through in life, is to kind of separate how strongly they feel from their own sense of right and wrong, or judgment calls lessons. Like, it's if you were to talk to this person, it's like, I know life isn't just about how I feel. You know, I know that. They know that. I listen to myself, but I also have to do what's right for me, right? So it's default best practices, even if it means making difficult decisions. Okay. In some way, they made a judgment call when it came to referencing you or speaking to you directly about these things, because they honestly felt it was the right thing to do. Default best practices. This means something to me, and I'm trying to convey that to you. I'm trying to shed more light on the situation, or help you or whatever understand my thinking, my situation, my reference point, something like that. Trying to convey the importance of it, but also at the same time my reasoning. It's different. This one's this one is this is one of those emotionally complex, philosophical sons of guns, isn't they? Not an easy person. No, they're not. But it's their process, and it's unique to them. Okay. The Magician. Yeah, their process is not for the faint of heart, I'll tell you that. They're constantly cross-referencing themselves, how they feel, versus the spiritual implication of what they know and are trying to navigate by. So it's, so this is that person who's going to lean into moral and ethical decisions for moral and ethical problems. I try to combine those words right there. That was interesting. Okay. Magician. Man, it's 5 of Cups, the Fool, 7 of Cups. Okay. There's a sense of regret attached to this person, to you. The Fool, 7 of Cups. They're trying to generate positivity. It's like, if my spirit or my emotional self could speak for me, I would tell you this. And that's all I see from them in terms of their manifestations. That sense of, I'm trying to convey goodness to you. I'm trying to convey good feeling to you. There's almost an apology in their energy for the past and where it screwed up. Okay. And if it could speak to you a little bit more directly, this is done in good feeling. That's all I want to convey to you, is good feeling. There's a sense of goodness in there, well wishes in there. Would they like to be open to you? Yes. But in terms of them sending a frequency or a signal to you, it seems to be a simple conveyance once more of good feeling and hope and enthusiasm. Positivity, not negativity. It's almost like it's trying to say in a very elaborate way, I hope you understand I made the best possible decision I could. It's weird because I know people would see something like this and they would freak out. It's just I've been doing this a long time. I know better. It doesn't tell me this person's heart is good or bad. It's that it struggles to be one more than the other. Despite how strongly we feel, we have to lean into correctness here with this person. All they showed me was like kind of an advanced moral dilemma and how they work through it. That they hope you understand their judgment or their reasoning, and how much your two's connection impressed upon them, on this person. Okay. Yeah, this is not gonna. This is. I'm calling it. That's a water person, maybe with some earthian tendencies, but that's a water person, and spiritually complicated too. But it makes sense to them, and I like kind of their ending. It's like kind of despite the sadness of the past, I just want you to know I have nothing but good things to say about you, and I feel good about you and our connection. That's it. And you're over there, you're like, I have so much to work with now. So whatever it is, however they imparted this upon you, it did indeed give you a lot to work with. It gave your mind a sort of settling point on this issue. It gave your spirit a kind of settling point on this issue. It impacted you deeply as well. Okay. So you have your process, they have their process. Ace of Swords, Six of Swords, and the Ten of Wands. After that, I don't know. I don't know why this person's showing me such a huge emphasis on moral dilemma. I don't know why they had a devil on their shoulder and a saint on the other. But it crossed their territory of their hearts. It says, I both desire you for all the good reasons, and I seem to desire you for all the bad reasons too. And that's all they showed me. And they've been trying to work through it since. And they said, my default here in judgment calls, I still have to do what's right for me. I need to love myself at the end of the day. That's all they said. I got to love myself at the end of the day. And my judgments need to reflect that. Okay. So as much as they loved you, they said, I have to kind of love myself more and make these decisions. It's like, I hope you understand. All right. That one's tricky. I'm not going to lie. That one was tricky. That one's tricky, and it's very tricky. And if you know who I'm talking about, if you resonate with this, you're like, yeah. That one runs deep. Yeah, I bet that one does run deep. And I'm not saying you don't. What I'm saying, your process is incredibly straightforward. Insight. I'm a big fan of insight. Give me something to think about. I'll figure it out. But my goodness, this person must have loved you deeply, yeah? I don't know why there was so much fear there. It's almost like they're saying, I would love to love you the right way, but how is that possible? Okay, Ace of Swords. Maybe they couldn't be open to you. Perhaps your two situation was where you two couldn't afford to be open to each other at that time. I don't know. But their heart was already kind of done when it met you, it seems. All right, Ace of Swords. The Empress. The High Priestess. Yeah, I was going to say at some point I'm going to say Justice. I just know it. This has so much of that implication of trying our best to weigh the scales correctly. And I am seeing someone here who is highly intuitive. Highly. The Empress, the embodiment of empowerment. So this is someone who claims the intuitive process. I'm going to go ahead and take a guess it's them. I'm not saying that you don't have the intuitive process. What I'm saying is one person here is really trying to own their navigation system. Once more, hearkening back to, I'm trying to listen to myself and make sense of it. Justice. Okay? And I did see that strong truth. Very strong truth here. It was done so it looks like a very, straightforward. This person's process is anything but straightforward. But how it was conveyed was quite simple. It seems. I hope this gave you what you needed. I do. And I think that's what they were thinking too. I hope this gave you what you needed. I'm going to call it closure. I don't know what else the hell to call this, guys, except it's closure. It's so rare. And I try to avoid that word because I know how much harm it can cause. When people insist upon closure, they also insist upon staying where they are. It's like I'm being held hostage because someone refuses to give me closure. No, you're doing that to yourself. You give yourself closure always. Okay? If you actually receive closure from someone else, consider it a blessing. It's rare. Most people don't do the work. This person did the work. That's all I can tell you. And it did its job. That's all. The way you reacted to it, you're like, oh my God, now I get it. I know. I get it. I see it. I get it. And you feel better for knowing, not the absence of it. So that's how I know it took effect. It did its job. Okay? So I'm not trying to give them all. It's just they had the kind of, it seems like spiritual burden attached to them, and they worked through it. They could have chosen not to work through it, and then none of this would be here. Your switch would still be flipped to off. And you'd have this huge community attached to it, but you'd be kind of lethargic still. Maybe not always. But I see where you're coming from. And it helps you. And that makes me happy. This is the kind of stuff people watch yours and theirs for. I hope you know that. For the Leo I'm looking at, you got closure. It may not be perfect closure, but you got some kind of closure. This is why people watch tarot, man. They want to see this shit, and you're having it. So I hope that you don't have a negative reaction. It's like da 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 da. But okay, I just hope that's not you. I hope that's not you. The Leo I'm looking at, you appreciate it. You do. He's like, now I know now. I get it. Okay. The truth once more, and the heaviness about why it was so hard to leave, to disconnect, why it happened at all. It's all wrapped up. And a nice tidy bundle, and someone who really, really means it. Okay? It's beautiful. It's empowering. And they seem to be at peace with it. Six of Swords. For your part, though, I wonder how you felt about it. You said it was a relationship, yes. Absolutely. And while you are feeling easier about it these days, I wonder how you felt about it. About them. About that relationship, what it meant to you. You're kind of looking at it with crystal clear vision now, and that's wonderful, but I wonder what it meant to you. They showed me quite well what it meant to them. Oh my goodness. King of Swords. Seven of Wands. King of Wands. See, you hated that. You hated the parting of ways. You did. There's that King of Swords twice. Seven of Wands. The blockage, deflection. King of Wands. You hated this division, but you also didn't seem to contest it. It's when they separated from you, it wasn't necessarily a surprise. No. You looked at it very calmly. Frustration, yes. A sense of parting of ways, which is always kind of sad. Yes. That's not how you wanted to disconnect, though. It's not. But you're saying, I can see it now. And you can. You showed me that twice. This is one of the benefits, by the way, of using multiple decks, is that you can see repeating patterns. King of Swords. Intellectually, you can wrap your head around it now. Okay. At the time when you two parted ways, you didn't contest it. Frustrated, yes. You wish it had probably been more warm than it was. It seemed cold and disconnected, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever this person said kind of clears it all up. Okay? But yeah, we see that now. And it was hard. It's all this saying, this was hard for me. This was hard for me. I know I just left. I know I just stopped talking. I know. I know. Six of Cups, Page of Swords, Ace of Wands. We never lost sight of each other, and that's mutual. That's absolutely mutual. We never lost sight for each other, and neither one of you really lost hope for each other. That sense of intensity is always there. It's always there, and it's the residual fuel that continues to feed this bond, and it is a soul bond, Six of Cups. I know that you two have a history, a unique history, no doubt. Therefore, a unique connection that's specific to you both. Perhaps you knew each other once upon a life, and it represents this kind of sweetness, nostalgia of the past, yes, of course. But I strongly suspect some of you have a longer history with this person. Not just what happened, say, in the past 6 months or even the past couple of years. I kind of feel like somehow this goes back in time a little bit, in ways I'm not seeing here today. Old impressions of each other. Anyway, they're saying it was very hard to leave this. Very. And you're like, yeah, me too. It was hard for me to accept it. You hated that cold ending. Six of Cups, Page of Swords, Ace of Wands. It was heavy for you both, yeah. And the Page of Swords, I have no doubt you two kept an eye on each other since this happened. I have no doubt, but it was in a non-threatening way. It was hard to look at each other. It still is. Because you can still feel the old feeling, yeah. The Ace of Wands, the heat, the intensity, the passion, the hope. And the Six of Cups, you can feel the bond and the history there. It's hard to not look sometimes. I understand. I think anybody in the world understands that. So what happens, guys? Well, I can see from their perch that perhaps there's no expectation, but hopefully there's a sense of warmth and goodness that flows to you. And I think you've picked up on it because, like I said, you're walking a little lighter these days. But for the most part, I see you feeling very comfortable with what you know now. Reassured by it, actually. You seem to understand them better. So I don't know when this happened. I'm very curious about that dialogue. When did that happen? Because you two seem to be far apart, even if it's in the metaphor kind of way. So I don't know how you got the information that you did, but I'm glad that you got it. It gives you a lot of peace on this subject. For their part, they're showing me absolute peace over the subject because they worked through it. It's a divided heart, guys. That's someone who has a great deal of emotional loyalty in a direction that's positive and negative simultaneously. In a very rough way, having to decide what was best for us in the positive, even if that means separating from this. And that they would still be open to you in some way, in that goodness. Is there anything else here? Because it's really hard for people to digest readings that don't seem to have okay and. Yeah. So it seems like we're really emphasizing the current knowledge base, reflections, insights, path, giving us a lot of vision here on this one. Clarity, great. And I see how they feel, and it's on a good note. There's a sadness for what was, but a positivity for what they would still feel for you. It's in the positive. And I suspect, well, I was about to say 3 cups. I suspect if they could connect to you in a positive way again, they would. Okay, in form of celebration of each other. 3 cups. It's not a lot, but it would be something. 2 of Swords, the Emperor. But you don't know. You don't know. And you're not convinced, and I understand. You're not convinced. You don't know if it's the right thing for you. But we feel it quite strongly, don't we? Are you their equal? The Emperor for the Empress. 6 of Wands, that's okay. I didn't see that face up, so I'm not very concerned about it. But sure, there would be a sense of good feeling around that. Ace of Cups. Is real authentic love present for their side? Do you need much more proof of that? Absolutely. Their heart went to war over you. You don't come out of something like that lightly. Yeah, their heart went to absolute war for you. Wanting to know how to give to you, and then at the same time, very aware that there was a sense of wrongness simultaneously. They ultimately had to default the decision that was right for them. So I'll tell you what, like I said, I'm very curious. I don't quite know how you interpreted this person feeling-wise. So if this isn't there for you, then I would say no. It's not a challenge, it just simply is advice. I'm glad that you feel better. I'm glad that you have a lot more to work with. I'm glad the situation makes more sense to you now. I'm grateful for that. You actually have received some sort of legit closure. It doesn't happen too often. So, if we cannot connect to this in love, then no, I don't want you to. Take what you know and be at peace with it. For the most part, I just see them sending you, quote-unquote, good vibes. But very deeply felt. Okay? Yeah, you have sneaking suspicion. So if it's anything less than the Ace of Cups, then I would say no. You know? Then I would absolutely say no. Hopefully this was just verification for those of you who needed it. Around current events, the energies might change. Okay, there might be more to work with later, but for now, right now, everything is as is. Okay, you two will always be bonded. I see that. But that doesn't mean we have to try to reconnect or make it work. But you have a lot to think about. They're doing their own thing, clearly. Depth. That's exactly what I was saying. This depth. There's so much depth attached to that person. They're emotional, they're philosophical, they're spiritual. There's so much depth. That person runs deep. Awareness, importance, and value. Like I said, they took their heart to the mat for you. But there was such a sense of awareness here that something was wrong. A conflict of emotional interest, perhaps. And I think that's how you see it in past life. Deja vu, repeated patterns, karmic lessons. I do think that you two are very much in that kind of past life soul bond energy, absolutely. And in some way, for at least one of you, this might represent karmic lessons or repeated patterns. Okay. Deja vu, we've done this before. That's what I say. I feel like you two have known each other a while. A while. You two might have repeating patterns, in which case it's best left alone. All right? But I'm glad that you received closure. Yeah, I'm glad you received closure, you know. Yeah. I know that that's there. The Page of Swords is there. I know that. It doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't. We're curious. We're just trying to understand something. And perhaps there's a little bit of that because we had a hard time understanding that separation. But if it's not real authentic love, I'm not saying you have to be in love. I'm saying if you connect to this for reasons anything other than the depths of one's heart, then no, perhaps not. Maybe it is best left avoided, you know? Or left alone. June. Tree. Last June might have been very interesting. And then tree, we have the tree of life. Your community, your way of life is important to you. I understand. Your roots run deep and you have a lot of responsibilities there. Okay. You lean into the practical side of things. There might have been something very significant last June or the June before. Some sort of June. What is around June anyway? That's going to be Gemini energy as well as, what are we running into? Cancer. So Gemini, Cancer. Hand and need help of assistance, guidance. I don't quite know why, but there's this idea of once upon a time you or them acted as a helping hand in each other's business, maybe. It lended to one's prosperity. Someone lended a very generous hand once, perhaps in June. And it lended to the tree of life, the community. Why does that weigh on someone's mind? Someone lended a hand to the community, the tree of life, prosperity. It grew. It grew from that person's generosity or their hand, their direct effort in June. What about that? Butterfly. It was a change for the better. Someone was a direct influence. Butterfly. Transformation, possibly Scorpio. It doesn't have to be. A change for the better. Somebody's world, 3D world, material world changed with that person's influence. Perhaps at some point in June. What June? I don't know. But their world changed, physically changed, 3D changed. Someone's helping hand, generosity, gave to the tree of life, expanded one's world and community. That weighs on someone's mind. I don't know why. It was through that effort that allowed prosperity to grow. I don't know where that last minute specification's coming from, but okay. But it's on someone's mind constantly. They gave to this, I gave to this, they gave to this. I helped that situation grow through my hand, my effort. Resistance. Suppressing, secret admirer, timid. I have to tell you, there was nothing secret about that one. No. Suppressing, timid. Timid by the feeling, suppressing feeling. Scared, resistance. Resistance to feeling the depths of one's feelings specifically. Scared, afraid, timid. Obscurity, trapped, stuck, tied. Obscurity, secrets. Secrets, mysteries, concealing, stuck, tied down, captive, trapped. We couldn't see a way out. There's a sense of entrapment here, so we resisted feelings. Somebody was trapped, obscure, concealing, stuck, tied down. Captive was somebody already spoken for. That would explain the devil and the saint on the shoulders there. It was someone in love with you, and you weren't available to be in love with. That would explain the moral dilemmas. Stuck, tied down, captive. Active, concealing, obscurity. Specifically obscurity, can't see a way out of the web. Trapped. So we resisted the feeling. That would explain why I couldn't see it for you. Not really. You're lighter these days. For knowing what you know. Conflict was in reverse. Clashing differences. Just conflict in reverse. Couldn't keep dealing with the conflict. Okay. Well now. "24, time is a thief. Time got away from us. Time is a thief." Fish is resourceful. I know you're resourceful. 34. Very resourceful. But time is one of those things that once spent, we can't get back. I know. 18. Loyalty. Community. You showed loyalty to your community, your roots, your foundation. At some point, you knew this person for reasons of work. Perhaps they helped lend a hand to it. And it changed things. But you're loyal to your community, your way of life. Okay? 18, 39, 34, and 24. So that would also explain that kind of acceptance, that cold acceptance. Yeah, I know why they're leaving. Feels like you shared a lifetime with them. And maybe you have, just in that kind of emotional and spiritual essence. We have letters Z, T, S, and we have the L in reverse, but it's currently in that space of becoming upright. So, yeah, you're becoming an advanced learner here. So I don't know how they conveyed this to you. I really don't. But you got some beautiful closure here. I believe it's beautiful closure, and I see nothing but goodness in their energy towards you, even at a distance. Okay. But yeah, so if there is any room for connectivity or reconnectivity, again, not only, I should stipulate, come from the heart, but also be clear to give and take from it. That's all. But I'm sure you know that. Okay. Leo, honey, I do hope this helped you. Put in the comments. Take care. Be well. Emphasis on Z.